MAHARI, YUWARE, Gaye, Sabanare. Oh, I didn't see you there. Just, celebrating the fact that we basically have Promare in DP now. Alright, so it is time for one of those kind of old-fashioned, not really old-fashioned, but my ways of showing off decks I'm excited about a bit early. And the deck has been out for a couple weeks already in the Japanese format, but, it's still a couple months away before we get it in English. And so I want to talk about my favorite deck from the latest set, VBT08, which is, well, Bladblack, essentially. And so this card itself has a lot of different builds, but this is my favorite one, which is the BladLiner build, and I'm going to go through it. I am actually getting these cards, the new set stuff in Japanese, in the coming weeks, simply because, I've always had Japanese DP stuff on me because I travel to Japan pretty often, and so I decided this time, instead of waiting until I go to Japan to update it, I'll just order the cards in Japanese early, get to playtest with it early, and then maybe I'll get to film some IRL fights with it as well, so look out for that. But without any further ado, let's look at the decks. Of course, Goyusha is our starter. Doesn't matter which one. Keep in mind, if you go second and ride, you get a quick shield. So, Bladblack is our new main grade 3, and of course we should go through his skills. So, his skills are, first is a Vanguard Circle once per turn. You make Kanamas 1 and give your front row plus, well, 3 units in your front row plus 10k. So it's not a continuous, it is an act, so only the units that are there presently. So this is a really nice skill because he, on his own, is already at 23 with this, and thanks to a lot of the supporting pieces, it goes even beyond that. And then your rears can go really big, and you overall just have a very tremendously strong turn just off of that alone. However, his second skill is what makes him truly shine in the purple moonlit night, I suppose, which is at the end of the battle that he attacked anything, you check the top 7 cards of your deck, and you add a grade 3 from among them to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So that's the first part. Then, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, so basically if you went second, you may discard 2 cards, and then choose a grade 3 that is not Bladblack from your hand and write it as stand, and for that turn, that unit gains plus 10k and loses 1 drive. So this basically, as I said in my previous DP support video, fixes the biggest problem of the deck, which is that we had nothing really good going for us going second. Now with this card, you can go second and superior ride into whether it's a Dailiner or a Great Dayusha, and just go for a very powerful kill turn. And in previous videos, I kind of used to basically, show off the deck in game afterwards. I'm going to basically go through several clips of just this deck in action, and so you're going to see that from a basically a bit different perspective, and just going to show off like various plays you can make depending on the situation and what your hand actually gives you. So Bladblack, of course, is he's not necessarily the best grade 3 to ride going first. I think Dailiner is still better just because you can like potentially kill your opponent on that first ride, but going second, this card is a must. And sometimes after you go for your first Great Dayusha, even if you go first, you can re-ride him and still do like 2 Vanguard swings that turn, at very strong power, which you might not have been able to otherwise. And as I mentioned, we've been talking about a lot, Great Dayusha, his skill is when placed, your front row gets plus 10k, including himself, and in hand, at the end of the battle, your grade 3 Vanguard attacked, if the unit's power is 45k or greater, and it was not ridden this turn, so that's an important text. Kanamas 1, ride him as stand, and he gets plus 10k on top of that, so basically gives plus 20k to himself and plus 10k to your front row rears. But if you ride him from Bladblack skill, he gets 10k from the Bladblack and then gives plus 10 to the front row. So basically, he gets 20k, whereas your side gets 10. So that's very, very strong. So of course, this card is good on its own. It's just a superior ride, gets you another force marker mid-battle phase, etc. It's been good since the start of Standard, but now you're able to basically go second, ride Bladblack, and then use Great Dayusha right on top of that. So of course, still our best going first grade 3, I said, is Dailiner. Lets you count plus 1, soul plus 1, look at top 7 for a normal unit, and then add it to your hand. If it's a grade 3, he gets plus 20k and a crit. So 33k with an extra crit. If you're on force 2, that's 2 crits, so 3 damage that you're risking. This build, by the way, really likes to go force 2 simply because we have a lot of natural power gain now, thanks to also a potential, well, one of our promo grade 1s were running, so it's definitely very good for that reason. So Dailiner, still a very good grade 3 to ride first, especially because you can throw away your other grade 3s with his first skill to just guard with, so they're 10k shields. So then, like, if you have excess, if you feel like you can end the game next turn, you can just like guard with your other Bladblacks, other Dailiners, etc., and they're 10k shields, which is very valuable in Standard. Then a grade 2 that we never really played but is super valuable right now is Active Mask. So Active Mask says, once per turn rearguard circle, when your Vanguard attacks, if the Vanguard's unit, the Vanguard's power is 30k or higher, you can almost 1 and stand Active Mask. So interesting thing here is that, of course, Bladblack gives him plus 10k, right? So he's a 20k attacker already. But what you can do is you can swing with Bladblack first, and you know, with whatever number of power he is at, and then re-ride the Great Dayusha, whether it's through his skill or Great Dayusha's skill, you know, if he didn't ride that turn, but probably through Bladblack's skill. And then you can, and then Great Dayusha gives Active Mask another 10k, so he's 30k already with potentially a Force 2, right? So he can attack twice, going second, with the Force 2. And then, so he attacks once, then you attack with a Great Dayusha, and then when that Great Dayusha attacks, and it's 30k, 33 because of its own skill and Bladblack's skill, then the Active Mask restands with that Force 2 on it, and with its, you know, all that power that it has on it thanks to Great Dayusha and Bladblack. So you can still put triggers on it and stuff like that. So it's very good. It's like a Tidal Assault in DP, which is very strong. And before we didn't use this card that much because the deck was a lot more Counterblast heavy in the past, because we had to like sync our Counterblast into Quilt, you know, and things like that. But now, and also like one Counterblast for Bladblack is nothing, and you're also saving the one Counterblast you would normally pay for Great Dayusha, because this second skill that Bladblack has does not cost Counterblast, which is really, really strong. So Active Mask gets used quite a lot, but it's not like, it's still pretty situational. It only comes up on like turn 3, or like if you have the nice play, like if you're just going for a normal Dailiner turn, it doesn't do that much. So only 2 copies, you just kind of try to dig into him. If you don't, it's okay. He gives your deck more ceiling, but the floor is already fairly high. So going into our other grade 2s, I still run 4 Die Dragon, simply because sometimes you still need that extra 5k to hit the threshold for things like, you know, for Platinum Ace. And of course, if you whiff your Dailiner, just like we did in the past, he's still an important extra 5k. So sometimes just that 5k does round off for that magical number, and so it's important to run them. On top of that, he's a 20k attacker, which, as we said already, with Force 2s and with the extra 10k from Bladblack, actually adds up into a pretty tremendous amount of power. So I think that Die Dragon is still going to be played just for that reason. I think he's still very good. Platinum Ace is our other grade 2 that we run as a 4 of. In my opinion, because this deck is trying to basically one-shot your opponent going second, or like 2-shot them basically going first, you have the opportunity to use Platinum Ace as a very big pressure tool. So you have Active Mask for the restands, but then you can like just basically fill up your board with Force 2s and have a Platinum Ace on the other side to like every attack is just swinging for lethal damage. And so I think that hyper-aggressive build for DP is very fitting, and it really works well, and a lot of cards support that kind of playstyle, and I think it's really, really good. So Platinum Ace, I kind of skipped over some skills, you know. Die Dragon, I guess you can see here, is Soul Blast 1, give your Vanguard 5k. If your Vanguard's power is 35k or greater, gets extra, he gets 10. Platinum Ace is, when you ride him, he is, as your Vanguard, he's 15k, so that's pretty good. You can just plop down a booster to swing for 23. The only reason why that matters is because you won't actually be pushing damage early. Not too much, but some, because otherwise they will just take your Dailiner. They'll just take your Bladblack turn, you know? And then his second skill is once per turn when he attacks. If your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is 30k or greater, then Soul Blast 1 and he gets plus 10k in a crit. So very strong skill. This deck does use up a fair bit of soul, you know, just for Dailiner and this, and sometimes this. Then the best grade 1, this honestly, like, I don't know why they made this a promo. I really would have much rather have had this like be a double rare or even hell a triple rare, you know. But it's a bit of a shame that this is a promo, because that makes it much harder to get. And trust me, it is a must-have for this clan. Like, it is a absolute must. There's no way around it. You just have to have Twin Order. So Twin Order skill is, when he boosts, for each of your force markers, for that turn, your Vanguard gains plus 10k. So easy as that. You go for your first ride, that's already a 10k for free to your Vanguard. Like, you have to pay Soul Blast for Die Brave and for Die Dragon to get 5. This is a free plus 10k. Go on your next turn, it's a plus 20. If the game prolongs, the power gets exorbitant. It goes crazy, you know? So this card is absolutely amazing. Just phenomenal card. It's just a shame that it's a promo, because it makes it a bit harder to get. If you play the Japanese version, I think as long as your locals have started doing shop tournaments, it'll be easier to get. But once shop tournaments restart and this card goes into the, which for us in English, by the way, this will be part of the shop tournament promos, just the weekly locals. So it'll be pretty easy to get, but still, you're gonna have to chase your friends, you know. If they pull it, you gotta chase them down. It's a very important card. Even before this comes out, before this set comes out in English and the promo is out, it's gonna be super important. Trust me, it's gonna be very, very important. So that is our first grade 1. Sorry, that's the triggers. Then for other grade 1s, we run another 7. So basically we have 4 Grand Rope. So Grand Rope is our top 5 grade 3 searcher. So Vanguard, Rearguard, when placed, look at top 5 for grade 3. If you find one, discard a card. If not, you just shuffle your deck. I mean, shuffle your deck both cases, but gotta say I love the art, and also his plus 5k condition is the easiest one I think that any deck has ever had. It's literally just during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or higher unit on your board, plus 5k. So 13k booster pretty consistently, which is good because like if you whiff your Dailiner, he will already make it a 26. So then if you can boost with Twin Order somewhere else, that's 46 if you have 2 force markers, and it's 36 if you have only 1, but then you can just like try to push the last 10k with like Die Dragon or Die Brave. Now Die Brave is a card that I'm still on the fence about, because I like it personally because it's extra draw and pressure, and it still gives that extra 5k for the counter for the Soul Blast. But I've seen other lists use 3 Quilt instead, and Quilt is on place, discard 1 to give 10k to your Vanguard, and when your Vanguard attacks, if it's I think 30k or 35k or higher, you can almost want to draw. So that way it's confirmed draw, where this is pressure draw. But the thing is that those builds often don't run Active Mask, which is an extra Counterblast sink, and then, you know, with this, you can actually do all your plays for 2 Counterblast. Bladblack is 1 Counterblast, Active Mask is 1 Counterblast, right? So, whereas with Quilt, if you want to get that draw on top of that, you're going to need another one. So, and then it makes your next turn a little bit iffy as well. So if you overextend too early, it might actually bite back. Whereas this feels safe, but then if you do whiff your Dailiner, or if you actually like just, you know, if you sit on Dailiner for too long, you actually just run out of soul, which is a big problem. There's no soul charge in this deck. That, you know, at least nothing that is like worth running in the clan that soul charges, but so you have to be careful with that. Sometimes it's not worth to use this, so that's something to consider. But I used to play it at 4. I think I played 1 less Platinum Ace, but I knocked down to 3 simply because it is the weakest link in the deck, I would say. These 2 are the most important grade ones, especially Twin Order, but this is like, you know, your optimal target for riding, and just having it behind Vanguard is also good. So that's one thing. For triggers, I've been playing 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, for draw PGs of course, and you know, it's been working out pretty well because the point of the deck is just to one-shot your opponent. You still need to have defensive plays, and you do farm cards pretty well, just because, you know, going first, you're always like adding cards like from Dailiner, and you know, you can sometimes have an amazing tempo up on your opponent that actually has, you know, a lot of pressure, and that way you can actually fill some cards into your hand pretty easily, get extra draws with, well, not really extra draws, it breaks even with Die Brave, whereas, you know, with Quilt, it's an actual plus, whereas this breaks even. But yeah, so this is the deck, this is the whole list, and now instead of going to games, we're going to go through some scenarios where certain cards, certain playstyles, certain combos are the flashiest and are the best, and you can see how the deck kind of works. Alright, and so we're going to be getting into the kind of like example plays in this part of the video. So this game I need to quickly talk about as we go through it. So basically what I did here is that I rode Bladblack because he's the only grade 3 in my hand, even though I'm going first, and I'm basically going to be calling out my Platinum Aces and like developing a board that either says my opponent has to take my Vanguard attack and, you know, go up to a certain amount of damage and I pressure them with my Platinum Aces, or if they Perfect Guard or guard the Bladblack attack, they have to, like, you know, get smashed in with my other rear guards that can swing for like 30 plus. So let's see how this plays out. So here I'm going to be calling down my Platinum Aces on both sides, or I'll call out Twin Order behind Vanguard first. Reason why behind Vanguard is because on its own, Bladblack with the skill used is only 23, so, and then now it's 31 with the boost. With the 10k from the skill, it's 41, so it's much stronger that way. And of course, that way they have to guard so much, so it's like a PG or take it situation, and that's what you want to put them into if you want to pressure them into that point. So here I basically, you know, read over the skill quickly, just to make sure I don't make any mistakes, and here of course call down Platinum Ace, and then use the Bladblack skill to counterblast 1 and give my front row the, there we go, almost forgot it, use the Bladblack skill to give my front row the plus 10k buff, so now it is a 41k swing, so my opponent needs to PG or take it, he doesn't have it, so here I check a Perfect Guard, check a critical, which is really, really big, because this way, I mean, he's taking 3 damage thanks to that Force 2, and on top of that, now both of my Platinum Aces are swinging for lethal damage, which, going first, you know, on turn 3, from just a counterblast 1, give your front row 10k is a big thing. So next we're going to use the Bladblack skill, of course, to check the top 7 cards for grade 3 that we can then use to set up for next turn. If we find a great Daisha, that'd be great, and of course we do find one here, so that'll be a great setup for next turn, and then basically we can just stay on the Bladblack and superior ride, whether we get the power up or otherwise, you know. So here now I'm going to basically get to, hopefully I wasn't out of focus there, I'm going to basically get to attack with both Platinum Aces. This one is swinging for 30k with its skill because it gets 10k from the Bladblack as well. And then the other one will be 38 because I did, oh no, 48, sorry, because of the extra trigger. So that's going to be very, very strong. And so here we're going to be seeing a quick shield and a 30k shield. So I believe that is 25 and a quick shield, so that should be exactly enough, if I'm not mistaken. 30k puts him to, he got defensive, so yeah, that's 50, so that's exactly enough to defend against that attack. So that was one turn. Here you're going to see an example of like active mask being used. So that first example was without active mask, and now I want to show two scenarios of active mask. One is just on a regular Dailiner turn. So here, you know, we're on our turn 4, we already used Dailiner to find a grade 3 and gain the 20k in a crit. So here I'm going to be swinging for perfect numbers, and of course, right now, Dailiner is only 33, but with a boost it'll be 41, and then I don't have to use a soul for Die Brave, so I can just boost with the Twin Order, and it's going to be 51, so already hitting that 45k threshold that we need for Great Daiyusha. So basically, I'm just gonna mull over my choices here, swing with the Dailiner. I think I'd take it back just to recalculate something, just to make sure that the number is right. And so here I'm swinging for 51, so my opponent has to perfect guard or take it. And basically, if they take it, they are going up to 3 damage, or 4 if I check a critical or something. But otherwise, like, they have to perfect guard and then still worry about everything else coming after that, which is a Great Daiyusha, and 3 more swings for my rear guards because active mask can restand. So I check 2 cards, I get a heal. Not the optimal trigger in this scenario because I was already, as you saw, that was like, you know, a smart opponent will guard your early attacks because they don't want to, you know, get early damage so that they don't die to your first Dailiner or to this. So he was on 0, he's going to go up to 3 now, basically. And then I'm going to try to kill him throughout the process of this turn. But, you know, having to guard those early swings and then having to also guard these, like, kill turns, that takes a lot of cards out of your opponent. So even if you don't manage to win on this kind of turn, you still can manage to achieve it in the forthcoming turns, you know, just because they run out of resources. They run out of cards in hand to actually guard all your swings with. So here, we have the important use of Active Mask where basically you don't have to use it on, like, before your Vanguard attacks for the first time if you're going to be rewriting Great Daiyusha. You can swing with Vanguard first, rewrite, then attack with Active Mask, and then attack with your new Great Daiyusha Vanguard, and then restand Active Mask. Because the thing is, it's once per turn, but it's whenever your Vanguard attacks. So if it's the first Vanguard attack or the second, it doesn't really matter. So here I'm going to swing with it unboosted, basically going for a 20k swing if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be pretty good on zone. Or no, 30k because I got the power from the heal trigger. So he's going to guard that. Because of course he's 18k from being, you know, Majesty Lord Blaster, so that 50k is enough, puts him to 33. And so here he's going to perfect out my Vanguard, basically, you know, not taking any risks here and staying at 3 damage. So here we get a Die Brave as the first check, and we get a Draw Trigger perfect card as the second check. He has 4 cards in hand, so I'm getting a bit hopeful. I'm starting to think, like, how should I position my triggers here? How do I actually finish him off? Because I need to basically push 1 damage with the Great Daiyusha and then push for lethal with the Active Mask. So we're basically gonna go for this, just like deciding where to put the trigger. I think I decided in the end to go for the Great Daiyusha in the end, because it's only 23, because I didn't use Bladblack this turn, so it just got the 10k from the Great Daiyusha, so I was like, that's just a 10k guard for MLB. He'll definitely be able to guard that, whereas this is now, you know, a bit more. This way, you know, with a 33, he actually has to commit, like, a 20k block to actually guard it. So let's see if he manages to get it. So he is mulling over it here and there. Alright, he's going to take it, so he does take that one, and then here we are attacking for, well, he got 10k from 2 different triggers, so that's 30, plus, you know, another 10 from Great Daiyusha, so that's 40, 48, and he's on 8. He's going to drop 30k, so that does put him at 48, so I think he would have had to drop another extra 5, and I think he did after I cut this off, or he intercepted with the thing, I can't remember, but, you know, it's all good, but he was basically able to guard that pretty alright. And now we're gonna go, but luckily, I still won that last game after that turn, because he just didn't have enough juice to really push. Now we're gonna go into the third game where I show off, you know, going second BladLiner, what it can do. And this is against Magyar, also is a recent deck. Of course, you don't really get to see their plays, because I'm just showing this deck's perspective. So here, we're gonna swing with the Bladblack here, just for the 23, and he's going to perfect guard it. We get a crit, which we can stack on the Active Mask, and of course this is a very strong thing where Active Mask will still attack 2 more times, you know, because I have the Great Daiyusha in hand that I can ride. He'll get an extra power up. He already has the Bladblack's power up, but he's going to be able to restand with, you know, 3 crit. Why 3 crit? Because we're going to re-ride and get a force 2 onto him, which is of course very, very strong. So then here, we're going to put the crit there. Second check is a Die Brave. And now we're going to check the top 7 for grade 3, you know, just to add it to our hands and be able to do the Superior Ride. And of course, we do want to add something to our hands so that we can actually just discard it for the cost of the Bladblack's Superior Ride. So we're going to add that, shuffle the remaining cards back in, and then discard this Dailiner, as well as discard these other one in my hand, and then be able to Superior Ride this Great Daisha and put a Force 2 on the active mask. So now Great Daisha is 33, and my front row gets another 10k buff, so they're swinging for big numbers. That Bladblack on the left is 33 on its own, and then the one on the right, we have a critical trigger on this, so it's 20, 30 from the Bladblack, 40 now with the Great Daisha. So this is a 40k unboosted, and I believe that here, I do not, or do I boost? I think I do boost eventually because I decide that, you know, I'd rather give the extra power to my Vanguard and make it really hard for him to guard it. So he basically hard guards this, so this puts him to 42, and I basically say, no, hold on, actually I want to boost. So then he has a chance to take it back. I say, like, you know, we can just redo that, but he just drops another 10k instead of committing the PG, and so he has 6 cards in hand, and we know that one of those is a PG. So here, we swing for 33, so again, not lethal, but if I check a crit, I go for game. But keep in mind that Bladblack takes away a drive, and therefore it's only going to be 1 drive. And so here, he actually does say that he takes it, and we don't get the crit, so he just goes up by 2 damage, goes up into 5, and now I'm basically in the situation where I have to swing with the Bladblack and the active mask to try and end it. By the way, active mask needs to be activated when your Vanguard attacks. Here I forgot it by like just, you know, a brief moment, but that has to be done before your drive checks. So then here I'm swinging for, you know, another powerful swing, 33 I believe, and he didn't hit any defensive, so he does actually need the extra, another, what is it, 25k shield here? And I think I might have miscounted at the time because I might have forgotten the Bladblack's extra 10k or something, and then, you know, that led to some incorrect guarding. I believe that happened here, or I can't remember exactly how it was, but let's see. So here he drops the he drops 2 10k shields, so this is a 32, but he does have another 5k shield in hand that he will drop for a PG after this, which then, like, should have been guarded, but the video cuts before that, basically. And here I attack with active mask, and he discards that 5k shield, but as you can see, he still had 3 cards in hand that he could have discarded, you know, instead, and basically he's able to still continue his Magia Doll shenanigans next turn. But hopefully this gave you a good look at what the new deck can do, you know, how Bladblack actually enhances the deck tremendously together with Twin Order, and active mask is brought into the deck list as well to basically turn out to be a really threatening card. But as you saw in the first game, it's not always necessary, but it is a nice addition to the ceiling. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and tell me in the comments if you like these kind of videos. And of course, I mostly do these only about the decks I really like. You will see more of these though, because a lot of the decks coming out right now in Standard are ones that I'm very excited about. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I guess on that note, I'm going to see you guys next time. Bye bye.